Every year, deep within the secluded forests of Northern California, a secret ceremony unfolds. Far away from the prying eyes of the public and mainstream media, this gathering hosts the world's most influential figures: former U.S. presidents, powerful business leaders, bankers, CEOs, and even a select few actors and artists, including, and allegedly, Nickelodeon star Josh Peck. Some have even accused the event of occultism, as hooded men burn an effigy in front of a large owl statue. So, what exactly is happening in this secret event? Do these ceremonies fulfill satanic fantasies? Is it simply an exclusive club for the wealthy to enjoy themselves away from the public? Or is this the secret society that silently controls the world? This is the Bohemian Grove. In the spring of 1872, a small group of journalists, writers, and actors came together to form the Bohemian Club. Their vision? To establish a haven where they could enjoy their art and stage theater shows away from the public eye. However, there was a challenge. Most artists were dirt poor, but the Bohemian Club leaders devised a brilliant plan: invite wealthy businessmen who appreciated the arts. In return, these patrons could enjoy the exclusive atmosphere while supporting the artists financially. The perfect location was found: a redwood forest near Monterey, California. As the Bohemian Club flourished, a turn of events took place. 8 years after its founding, some members complained about commercialization and the intrusion of the wealthy elite. The bohemian spirit seemed to be fading, overshadowed by the influence of bankers, industry leaders, and CEOs. The club's dynamics shifted further when U.S. presidents like Eisenhower, Ronald Reagan, Richard Nixon, and George Bush Sr. joined. This would turn out to be one of the biggest power plays the Bohemian Grove is known for: appointing presidents. A notable feature of the Bohemian Grove is the Lakeside Talks, where politicians and business leaders deliver off-the-record speeches. It serves as an opportunity for these influential men to discuss their agendas and visions for the world, away from public media. Politicians especially value these lakeside talks as a chance to gain exposure without violating the club's rule, "Weaving spiders come not here." It provides a casual platform to share ideas with some of the most powerful individuals in the country. In 1995, former President George Bush Sr. utilized his lakeside speech to introduce a special guest, his son George W. Bush, hinting at his son's potential as a future president. Only 6 years later, George W. Bush was appointed President of the United States. But he wasn't the only president to use these lakeside chats to fast-track his presidency. In 1950, Dwight D. Eisenhower delivered a lakeside chat that would captivate the Bohemian Grove audience so much that 3 years later he would be the 34th President of the United States. In that captivated audience was one person who realized the importance of these lakeside chats in the political game: Richard Nixon. In 1967, Nixon delivered his own lakeside speech, marking a pivotal moment on his journey to the presidency. 3 years later, Nixon found himself compelled to deliver another speech, this time as the President of the United States. However, there was a small problem. The U.S. president couldn't simply disappear into the woods to talk to an exclusive gathering without drawing attention. When news of this secret meeting reached the press, they expressed a keen interest in covering the event, accompanied by many questions. What were these elite people doing in a secluded forest? What are they discussing about? And would their discussions affect the public? The Bohemian Club, adamant about safeguarding its secret rituals and speeches, faced a dilemma. In response, the club leaders advised Nixon to step away from this particular speech. This intrigue and secrecy, however, is not new to the Bohemian Grove, as shown by historical figures such as J. Robert Oppenheimer. On July 21, 2023, a historical drama about the Manhattan Project called Oppenheimer was released. The movie would go on to make over $950 million in the box office and become the third highest grossing film of 2023, trailing only behind the Super Mario Bros. And Barbie. The historical accuracy of Oppenheimer's life and the events unfolding before the bombing of Nagasaki and Hiroshima were highly praised by critics and audience alike. However, there is one small detail they forgot to cover in the film: the secret Manhattan Project meeting at the Grove. In 1942, Robert Oppenheimer visited the Grove with the company of the S1 Committee to discuss the details of the Manhattan Project. Later that year, President Roosevelt would approve a $2 billion government investment into the project, authorizing the building of full-scale gaseous diffusion and plutonium plants. Only 3 years later, after Oppenheimer's visit to the Grove, Harry S. Truman gave the final order to bomb Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The war was finally over. Between the secret meetings, cult-like ceremonies, and elite powerful members all heavily guarded by ex-military, it is easy to understand why many people are curious as to what goes on in the Grove. Some have even successfully infiltrated the Grove, and even been able to film the compound. No one's attempts into the Grove have been more famous than that of Alex Jones. Alexander Emmerich Jones is an American radio show host and well-known conspiracy theorist. Over the years, Jones has taken a keen interest in the workings of the Grove and how to expose it. In 2000, Alex Jones released a documentary titled Dark Secrets Inside Bohemian Grove, where him and his team would successfully infiltrate the Grove and even film the secretive cremation of care ceremony. This has been one of the only times this ceremony has been filmed and shown to the public. The cremation of care is done on the first night to kickstart the 2-week encampment, and usually includes members of the Grove dressed in druid-like robes, performing a ceremony in front of a 40-foot stone owl statue where they burn the body of Care, an effigy allegedly filled with just sticks. Over the years, Alex Jones would infiltrate the Bohemian Grove 3 more times according to him, and in 2011 he would enter the Grove for the 5th time, while helping History Channel show Brad Meltzer's Decoded. In the episode Secret Societies Uncovered, host Brad Meltzer and his team Buddy, Christine, and Scott would try to investigate the Bohemian Grove, after a few failed attempts to talk to locals, and even trying to get into the Grove from the front entrance with no result. The team decided to enlist Alex Jones to help decode and infiltrate the Grove. With Jones's knowledge and help, they were able to access the Grove from the Russian River. Unfortunately, after a few minutes of entering the Grove, security was already alerted of their presence and picked up Buddy and Christine, while Scott and Alex were able to escape down the river. Both Buddy and Christine were taken to the police station 30 miles away in Santa Rosa and released 9 hours later with trespassing charges. Fast forward to the end of 2023, where a brave YouTuber by the name of Dancer1 was able to successfully infiltrate the Grove at night with only a rusty cast iron pan and a children's kayak. During his expedition in the Grove, Dancer was able to film in some of the buildings, and while searching he found a whiteboard that had Josh Peck's name on it. Coincidentally, Josh Peck had also played Kenneth Bainbridge in the movie Oppenheimer. As Dancer continued, he eventually reached the lake where the famous lakeside speeches are held, and the 40-foot stone owl statue where the cremation of care ceremony is. This video is incredibly rare, as Dancer was able to do something no one has done before, filming the owl altar up close and even inside the owl statue. The secretive elite meetings, unusual rituals like the cremation of care, and the attendance of influential figures have led to speculations about the secret society's influence over the world. In the end, the Bohemian Grove remains shrouded in secrecy, attracting the attention of conspiracy theorists, investigative journalists, and even daring YouTubers. But is this just some frat-like 2-week getaway for the elite to blow off some steam? Is it a satanic cult sacrificing humans to appease their god? Or is this the secret society that silently controls the world?